rises up with his knights for the last battle at the end of time, in order to help good triumph.
Close to this area in Sierra Leone, Professor Pitoni was in charge of diamond excavations. And as he heard in this area a legend about Allah was angry with some angels, and he put them into stone and throw them to the earth. He put the sky, also made it into stone and throw it to the earth, and he put the stars and threw them to the earth. The legend says the sky, you can see on this stone, they call them sky stones, sky blue stones found in this area under the earth. And we did research in Vienna. This is definitely artificial stone. It's not a natural stone, and all the material could be found, but the only thing they could not inform us is what kind of color did they use to get this real sky blue color. The stone figurines found from 20 meters down to even 50 meters. Professor Pitoni always took some organic material from the finding place, and the age dating of those stone artifacts are from 2,500 years up to the oldest one, 17,000 years. Here you have a granite stone, so-called nomoli, stone nomoli, with very nice encarving. Here you have a man sitting on an elephant, as there are also the legends of giants all over Africa. You know how big is an elephant. It's a wonderful stonework. It's very hard and very heavy. There are also some artifacts showing half human or human with the head of a reptile, holding a kind of pot in their hand, and they could put something inside this pot, and also on top of several nomolis there is a hole for putting something inside, and most probably they were used for ceremonies. Here you have a kind of animal. It looks like a dinosaur, and when Professor Pitoni found this statue, it was making a strange noise. So he opened the statue, and they found inside the small black ball you can see on the bottom of the statue, and this was iron material. When we did the research on this artifact, and especially on this metal ball, next morning the professor called me and told me that somebody must have done a bad joke to me. I asked why, because the result of the research was this metal material is chrome steel, and chrome steel was found first time at the beginning of the 20th century in Austria. That means it was impossible inside a statue with the age of approximately 17,000 years.
Even before I had children, there was always the motherly feminine energy that I drew to, that supported me, backed me, comforted me, and guided me. So keep that in mind, both brothers and sisters out there that are single and have children. I have 13. I spent 25 years as a single dad. Now I'm a great granddaddy, and I think I got about, I'm embarrassed. But I have a lot of great-grandchildren and grandchildren. And
So let me ask you this question. When you became a single dad in 1972, how many children did you have at that time? And what inspired you to become a single dad? What happened?
Oh, this is a good one. Nikki, you sure know how to pick them. I think you're trying to find out my background. Let me tell you, before I became
the purpose of doing the show is because you have fathers out there right now that have no idea. You have men out there right now that would love to take custody of their children but don't know where to begin, don't know how to begin. I mean, you have some of these men that have women that got issues, real issues, just like you have brothers with issues that these women may be on drugs or they may have some issues and, they may be using the child against the man. So, I mean, we need to discuss this for the simple fact. I know fathers right now that are like, look, I want custody of my kids, but how do I begin to get custody of my children? You see what I'm saying? Because the court system always seems like it's on the mother's side. And true enough, I've seen some cases. Real cases now. And as a matter of fact, I'm dealing with one right now as we speak. The father has not seen his child in 10 years, and he wants his children. But the mother is an alcoholic and a drug addict, and the system has closed the case on this particular case, and these kids are out there with the mother she took off again. And these kids are in danger. So at the end of the day, we need to have this information out to our brothers who have issues with women. They need to know what rights they have. They need to know that there are single fathers out there who have done this, who have maintained it, who have done a very good job at it, because you have to remember, you got brothers that, it's like they feel like, well, I ain't going to be able to do it. So when y'all coming on and sharing this information, it just inspires them to say, okay, shoot, if you did it, I could do it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the purpose of doing the show. And I just want to be real with it, because y'all know I keep it real. I want y'all to be real with it, because these are some of the same issues that our brothers are going through right now in the community. So go ahead. Tell me how you got your kids in 1972.
Okay, if anybody wants to have some fun, they can go and Google the information. I was known, a.k.a. the King Priest Musa in the entertainment world, which means I was in burlesque, and you might say pioneered male stripping. And I had several women that were
designed in society because of all of these toxins known to affect brain function. We're seeing a society that not only has a lot more people of lower IQ, but a lot fewer people of higher IQ. In other words, a dumbing down, a chemical dumbing down in society. So everyone's sort of mediocre. That leaves them dependent on government because they can't excel. We have these people with lower IQ who are totally dependent. Then we have this mass of people who don't read anything they're told because they can't really think clearly. And very few people of very high IQ who have good cognitive function who can figure this all out. And that's what they want. So, you can kind of piece it together as to why they are so insistent in spending so many hundreds of millions of dollars of propaganda money to dumb down society.
You have children with them. You're not going to use rubbers back in the 70s.
Don't you know?
So, long story short, 3 of the women with children, my son was 27, so 27 years ago, while I was doing the show, on the way I was leaving, in fact, I mentioned this a little bit before on the show, I was leaving and I saw a brother, as I left the club, beating up, he's a pimp, beating up his old lady, and I went to interfere, and I was, like I said, I was on my way out because I was going to go to the hospital. The son that I'm talking about was just being born. So as I encountered these two and interfered, the guy sliced me in the neck. And I had the scars. Now, I kind of ran because I learned my lesson quickly. But I was using seriously, so I ended up in the emergency room while my son was a couple of minutes old, 20 minutes old upstairs, waiting for Dad to come home. Mom's waiting for me. So I had said to myself while I was laying on that gurney, if you let me see my son raise this kid, I'll change my ways. I'll go back to my roots. I'll dig. I'll spend all the time and energy that I did to come to you give me. The lesson is whatever you gave me for skills, and I will be the best father. And that tells the story of how I started out. I ended up with 5 kids to raise, and then I ended up, marrying a couple, and now I have 6 months.
Okay, so you was a single father of 5 kids.
Yeah.
All right, so now, do they all have different mothers?
Well, of course, they found out that the mother's, right, has a guy downstairs, child investigation, and they took the baby away from the mother. And I had to go to court. But before I went to court, they made us go to a child state psychiatrist. And they put the head man on me. And he had to evaluate if I could take the kid. So, here I walk in looking like a clown, thinking I'm an entertainer and I'm looking good. And this guy looks at me and says, come in. I go inside. And I'm looking on his wall. He's got all kinds of stuff and authority. And he says to me, if this is your story, that you got 6, women in your house and everybody gets along and it's all making plenty of money and the kids are all doing good, I think you have visions of grandeur. No man can handle more than 1 or 2 women. And at the best, they get divorced. And you say you had these women, you're out of mind. So now
you have men in the house, you have 6 women, did you have kids by older women?
Yeah, I just said that.
Okay, so you end up getting custody of 5 of them.
No, listen. So the guy told me, you have to document. So the next morning, I brought all the mothers in and all the kids in, and I left them there. And I guess he questioned them because when I went to court, they gave me the custody of the kids.
Okay. So there you have it. So you actually, how long did you raise the 5 children by yourself?
All their lives.
Really? And what involvement did the mother have in it? Now, it's funny because, you said they changed the laws back in 1973. So in 1973, it seemed like to me that there was no problem with them giving you the kids. Now, in this day and time, it seems like, the court system is usually on the mother's side. So, and that was back in 1973.
They were, and this is why the mothers took off, because, see, I had plenty of money, bringing all that bullshit. And we all had money, all right? We were doing. So, what happened was it cost money to fight for your kids. And
okay, so you had the money at that time to do that.
I spent my money in there.
Okay. Now, real quick question before I go to the lines. It's 11:02. I want to get to my line. Let me ask you this. How did it affect you? I mean, was the mother still there or they were gone? And how did it affect you as being a single father? Did you find it hard? Did you find it challenging? Well, you had money at that time, so you didn't have to worry about trying to get extra help. But was it challenging to you being a single father? What kind of love did you display to all these children? I mean, answer that real quick, and then we're going to go to the line.
You single women especially know how hard it is. Of course I found it hard being a man, especially with my ego and my so-called macho thinking, I mean, after all, I was, the epitome